My very first time really seeing a sequoia tree was a few years back at the Trail of 100 Giants, part of the Sequoia National Forest in California. I remember pulling up and starting my walk down the paved walkway of the trail there, and my eyes connected with a large one, the one I consider my first. It had been a long time since anything engaged the instinctual parts of my brain like this living being now before me, and for a moment, I felt nervous like an untrusting and suspicious house cat. Seeing another human standing next to one for scale was my true moment of discovery. How could something at once be this large and yet alive? And me so small by comparison? Famous naturalist John Muir summed it up best.
There is something wonderfully attractive in this king tree, even when beheld from afar, that draws us to it with indescribable enthusiasm. Its superior height and massive, smoothly rounded outlines proclaiming its character in any company. And when one of the oldest attains full stature on some commanding ridge, it seems the very god of the woods.
Join us today and learn about this mighty tree, the sequoia, god of the woods. Sequoias are the most massive trees in the world. The branches alone can be larger than entire trees you'd find in other forests. At the Longmeadow Grove, or Trail of 100 Giants, we came across a good example of this.
There's a really large branch right there. I don't think you're going to be able to see just how big that is, but I was standing right under it and I was like, uh-oh.
Here's a branch that fell from high with such force the branch stuck in the ground and remains today.
Imagine if that came down on you. Man, it's stuck in the ground. Look at that.
The largest tree in Longmeadow Grove has a diameter of 20 feet and is 220 feet high.
I bet you can't see around the tree, can you? Still walking, still walking.
Think that's impressive. The most massive of all the sequoias, which happens to be the largest known single-stem tree in the world by volume, is the General Sherman tree, located in Sequoia National Park. It's a mind-boggling 274 feet tall. The circumference at its base is 102 feet, and the volume of its trunk is 52,508 cubic feet. It weighs 642 tons, which is approximately the weight of 100 large African elephants. The largest stand a few feet taller than the Statue of Liberty on its base. It's a humbling thing to stand at the base of one of these giants and peer upwards. As a curious human in the forest, wired with fatalistic instincts, my mind goes back to the what-ifs. What would it be like if we witnessed one of these fall over? What damage would it leave in its wake? A ways down the trail, we have a couple specimens to aid us in our mental exercise. And, as I found out, fallen sequoia are an excellent way to convey the scale of these trees. Walking on the trunk of a fallen sequoia made me feel like the king of the forest. And when I spotted a couple fellow travelers standing upon a nearby one, that's the moment the scale really clicked for me. Now that's big. Back on Friday, September 30th of 2011, two giants, which had grown next to each other and appeared to be one at the base, a phenomenon we noted in other spots, fell. And a few years later, during the winter of 2018 to 2019, a third tree fell across the first two and damaged the wooden walkway in the process. Might as well have been made of toothpicks. At this point, you might be thinking, geez, falling sequoias must be a very common occurrence. Branches the size of trees stuck in the ground might be a really dangerous place to be, Glenn. Surprisingly, this isn't the case, and in fact, they last a long time. The average lifespan of these trees is about 2,000 years old. That's amazing considering the root systems are actually pretty shallow. The largest roots might be pushing 3 feet in diameter, with smaller feeder roots branching out into the soil. The entire root system only goes about 4 to 5 feet beneath the surface. Amazing to think that a system like that can support the weight of 4 single-story homes distributed up to 300 feet of height. One of the best examples of how diverse and perhaps strange nature can be. So how do sequoias live for thousands of years and grow to such remarkable sizes? The simple answer is, they grow fast and are naturally resistant to fire and disease. Once a young sequoia's root system is established, they grow at an extremely fast rate. An example of this is the general Sherman tree. A research team did a 40-year study and found the tree grew 3 inches in diameter over that time period. 3 inches may not sound like much, but distributed over 276 feet of height and 100 feet of girth, that's enough wood to build a 6-room home. Another observation is that the trees have an unusual bark. Looking at the trees, you'd expect the bark to be hard as stone, but it's porous and gives way to the touch, and it's also extremely fire resistant.
Listen to this. It's very hollow sounding.
You could see much evidence of past fires as you walk the trail, showing that the charring did little to prevent the continued growth of the trees over the long term. And the trees have another advantage. The bark contains a substance known as tannin, which helps the tree fend off insects, disease, and fungus. It's also a great preservative, as evidenced by the remains of a sequoia that fell over 200 years ago in the 1800s. It's remarkably well preserved for a 200-year-old tree corpse, wouldn't you say? The sequoias are by no means indestructible, however. For example, these massive trees require large amounts of water to thrive. Continued droughts threaten the health of the sequoia, and scientists continue to monitor the effect changing climate is having on them. And though they can survive many fires, they do have their limits, and the intense fires of recent years have reduced their numbers. The sequoia is currently considered an endangered species. Their number have been dwindling over the years. Will their kind flourish in the millennia to follow, or will it be the trail of 100 fallen giants for future generations? Time will tell. Late afternoon in this forest is a magical time to be walking through the grove. I didn't know in this peaceful moment that fire would affect this area once again, just a few months after our visit. Though the trail suffered some damage, we hear the meadow is open again, seasonally of course. Though there is still much to explore concerning the mighty sequoia, for now, it's enough to entice and inspire you to visit the Trail of 100 Giants one day, and help to preserve it for future generations. The sequoia is one of the most unique organisms on our planet. Let it continue to inspire us for the millennia to come. If you enjoyed our presentation today, please subscribe, as it helps us grow our channel. We thank you for learning about the sequoia with us today, and we'll see you on the next adventure.